On the Sunday after Christmas, I read 3 stories instead of a sermon from David Kossoff's Book of Witnesses, and a number of people said how much they'd appreciated it. So, as we're stuck in and we can't get to church, and it's in Lent, I thought it would be good to share some of these stories with you. This one is about a man called Quuz, who, as you can imagine, is perhaps one of those who sits on the edge of the community. David Kossoff describes him as bald with an untidy beard and a rather loud and hoarse voice. Barrel-chested with heavily muscled arms and poorly dressed. You'll have to use your imagination, perhaps. Anyway, here we go with Quuz's story. Somebody once said, so I'm told, that Jerusalem has more beggars than anywhere in the world. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I've never been out to Jerusalem, and I've been a beggar all my life. Certainly there's a great many of us. We supply a demand. People need to be reminded how lucky they are to count the blessings. It makes them feel good to offer us a coin. You'd think people with a lot of blessings would be thankful, and they'd give you the most, wouldn't you? I mean, it follows, doesn't it? Rich people, big givers, like hell. The good givers are the poor people, always have been. And as you can see, there's a lot of us to give to. Local colour, a good tourist attraction, I reckon, though I must admit, looking round, a lot of us are not very pretty. We don't exactly beautify the landscape. High priest Caiaphas doesn't like us cluttering up his beautiful temple, and neither did King Herod, who made it beautiful. We've been cleared out a number of times, but we always creep back, we creep back. Herod's son, Archelaus, and Antipas, they made similar noises. The Roman governors, Pontius Pilate, all of them, tried to get rid of us. But we're still here. It's all a great game. Don't tell me that most of us are perfectly able to do other work. I know, I'm willing. But what job would you suggest for someone with no legs who can't read nor write? I can manage without legs, I always have. But once or twice, I've wished I could read. One time in particular, and I think about it a lot, was when that Jesus of Nazareth came and sat as near to me as you are now. Even the once, but I remember it like it were yesterday. And it must be 11 years ago? Well, it's about 9 or 10 since he died. Nasty business. He were a remarkable man, that carpenter, in so many ways. I always felt a sort of kinship with him. We had things in common. No money, no possessions. We weren't fooled by people. I know he loved them all, and I hate them all. But we knew about them, and they didn't fool us. I've sat on this stone seat in this corner near the gate of this part of the temple for nearly 50 years. I've seen it all. If I tell you most people are not worth twopence, it's because I've got no legs and I'm all twisted. It's because I've been observing people all my life. All day, every day. So I can't write a letter or read a book, but I can sit and watch this whole stupid comedy. The way folk rush about and hurt each other and think they're being clever. The way people seem to think that no one knows what they're up to, but beggars know it all. We beggars have the most accurate and the fastest news grapevine in Israel. We know everything. I knew about the carpenter being baptised by his cousin John the day after it happened. That wedding in Canaan with the water into wine business. Those loaves and fishes, healing of the sick, the disturbance he made in the temple with the money changers, how they threw him out of the synagogue in Nazareth. Everything. I could have told you the exact day that the authorities decided to stop him. From that day, he were a marked man. They were at every meeting, in every crowd. Experts in the law, high priests, the establishment. Yeah, they were there, watching him. But he could handle them. As I said, one day he sat here next to me in the open, talking to a huge crowd. Talking, making it simple, teaching with his stories. And suddenly a gang of Pharisees and lawyers pushed their way through, dragging some woman. Oh, I knew her. A man had left his wife for her. Not unknown, such behaviour, plenty of it went on. The Pharisees, a holier-than-thou lot, were there to make the carpenter look a fool. or to say something that they could hang a charge on. They pushed the woman forward and they made a ring around her. "An adulteress!" they screamed. "Proven! Great Moses said such women must be stoned to death. What do you say?" Well, the crowd went silent. Some of them edged forward looking for stones. Very little difference between a crowd and a mob, you know. The woman and Jesus looked at each other. And then the carpenter sat forward and reached down and wrote something in the dust by his feet with his finger, his head down. The Pharisees and lawyers screamed for him to answer, and he got up and it went very quiet. And then he said, "Yes, she sinned. Let the first stone be thrown by the one among you here who's never sinned." Then he looked at the crowd, and they all went very quiet. And they went as still as he was. And after a moment or two he sat down again, very calm, and again he bent and wrote with his finger in the dust, "As near to me as you are." Very quiet. And the people began to shuffle, and the eldest of the party who brought the woman walked away, and then another and another, until, well, soon she just stood there by herself. Jesus lifted his head up from his finger writing and he looked at the woman. "All by yourself," he said. "Everybody gone? No stoning today? No sentence? No one to condemn you?" "No one," she said. She were crying. I wasn't surprised. Jesus got up and went to her. "And I don't condemn you either," he said. "Go home and don't do it again." She went out by that gate, and the crowd moved forward to surround the carpenter, to be nearer to him. And soon the writing in the dust was all wrong. And because I can't read, I'm never going to know what it said.